Hi, we're here again. This is the podcast that must not be named, and I am basically, mostly, eventually still going to consider being Luke.
I'll be Melissa for now.
And we are here talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, chapter number 20. Basically, a little past halfway through this book, which I'm very excited about. And this is the first task. This chapter is 26 pages, another long one. And that is 3.54% of this book.
With the first task looming near, Harry with Hermione's help scour the library for ways to subdue a dragon, but don't have any luck. The day before the task, Harry lets Cedric know about the dragons, because it's only fair that all the champions should know what's in store for them. Moody overhears this and pulls Harry to the side to commend his decency. He gives Harry advice to play to his strengths, and after some encouragement, Harry realizes he's going to need his broom. Harry rushes off to Hermione, and with her help, they spend the rest of the day practicing the summoning charm, Accio. The morning of the task, the nervous champions are led to a tent near the forest and let in on the secret about what they are to face. They are each to face a dragon and retrieve a golden egg that is being protected. Each pull out a replica of their dragon. Of course, Harry gets the Hungarian horntail and is last to go. After listening to the crowd reactions and Ludo Bagman's play-by-play of the other champions, Harry heads to the enclosure, faces the dragon, and uses his newly mastered summoning charm, calls for his firebolt, and in a few moments, it flies to his side. Harry uses the broom to fly around the enclosure annoying the dragon, even sustaining a cut to his arm from its tail. But he was able to coax the beast to abandon her eggs, and in doing so, Harry swooped in and grabbed the golden egg. Once back in the champion's tent, Hermione comes in along with Ron, who admits that he's been an idiot and asks for forgiveness, which Harry immediately gives. Ron tells him about the other champions' attempts. Fleur and Cedric both got kind of burned, and Crumb blinded his dragon, but that caused several of the non-golden eggs to be smashed. Harry receives a score and is tied for first place with Crumb. He, along with the other champions, are told that the golden egg is a clue to the second task, which will take place in 3 months. Harry heads back to the castle happier than he's been in a long time because he has Ron on his side. And he even gets to tell off Rita's Skeeter.
Alright, so, long chapter, lot of action. Thank you, Benji, for doing our summaries as you have this whole book. It's very much appreciated. Character introductions, I didn't see any new character introductions this chapter.
No, me neither. We got sort of a location.
Yeah, tell us what our sort of location is.
It's a tent. It's the Champions tent /
Champions
the
tent.
Task Stadium, but it's a tent.
Yeah, I think that qualifies. We've probably been in the area, but
yeah,
a repurposed location. How about that? Minimum.
Okay.
So we definitely did have some new magicabulary, several books, and a spell or two. So we have. You want to say the first one?
I do. This makes me so happy. This is Men Who Love Dragons Too Much.
Such a good book title.
That one I'd like to read.
And I actually had to look it up. Like, I did a search for it because I felt like maybe that was one of the ones that Hagrid had in book 1 in that chapter 13, but it wasn't. I didn't go back fully to the chapter, but this title didn't come up again in the Kindle search, but it just seems familiar, and maybe it's just one of those so silly it's hard to forget kind of things. But some other magicabulary we had this chapter were switching spells. We also had another book, Basic Hexes for the Busy and Vexed. I like that one.
I like that one.
A spell.
Yes, go ahead.
The spell called Defendo. That's what Harry uses to open up Cedric's bag, cause a distraction, if you will.
Yeah. We got a guide to advanced transfiguration. So
like the next level up.
a new level book, because that was Cedric's book. Isn't he like a 7th year?
So he should be NEWT level.
Yes. We had dark detectors, secrecy sensors, and faux glass.
Sure did. Those seem pretty interesting. And
I know.
More horror stuff. Aurora. Princess Aurora. So we do have, as usual, a chapter illustration for this chapter 20, and it's a book, and it's flying into or away from somebody's hands.
Well, one would assume this is Harry practicing the summoning charm.
You would assume that, but there's no wand.
There's not. So I feel like maybe it was a book Hermione was holding that was flying from her hands toward him.
Right.
And I think that because... Hold on. Let me find it. Here we go. Harry said he threw a rune dictionary back to Hermione. He raised his wand once more. Accio Dictionary. The heavy book soared out of Hermione's hand, flew across the room, and Harry caught it.
Exactly. That's the line I was thinking of as well. I was like, I think it's going from someone's hands here.
Yes. I don't like the illustration.
It's, compared to some of the other ones we've had recently, there were better, more exciting things that could have been depicted.
That's my problem. And I am not saying that we should see Harry flying against the dragon, because I think that cut some of the suspense that I'm going to talk about later. But nothing else. That's the moment I don't know.
Last chapter, we learned that the dragons were all nesting mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why not have one of the dragons with some eggs under or behind it, like, roosting, or, you know, like, doing something, like, being protective for whatever reason.
Just Harry standing there in front of a dragon with, like, the stands of people, like that. There were other moments that could have been a stronger contender for...
Or even the ripped bag. Even, like, Cedric's ripped bag on the ground with books spilling out of it. Like, I think that even could have been... And yeah, it's a very slight part of this chapter, but I don't know. Like, I guess this kind of tells the story of Harry getting it, even though we don't really know. I don't know. I'm kind of with you. This probably is not going to lead the way on my favorite illustration of this book.
It's not a bad illustration. It just...
It's not poorly done.
For a chapter that I really enjoyed and was very long and had a lot in it, not my favorite choice.
Compared to, what was it, 17? Yeah. This one does not, I think, add to the chapter.
No.
All right, so again, long chapter, a lot of action, a lot of really neat things to talk about too, I think. So, Melissa, why don't you kick us off on some of your thoughts here? Okay,
so Harry fills Hermione in on the conversation with Sirius and what was going on with Hagrid and sort of his whole late night adventures with Harry, part 1 and 2. And
back to our radio program, Late Nights with Harry. Harry That's After Dark.
She missed it. She was asleep, so she was getting the recap by BuzzFeed after. So he was recapping, and she's like, I think it's so funny that Hermione's like, okay, we got to prioritize, right? I cannot handle all of these crazies at once, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Number 1, we're going to get you past the dragon because you got to stay alive till Tuesday. Number 2, then we'll worry about whoever wants you dead. Number 3, like... I don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure there is one.
Self-actualization. We're working on this Maslow hierarchy again.
Like, step 1 is live. Step 2 is don't die later.
Prevent further chances of death.
But nobody's going to try and kill you until you've survived this. So we got to make sure you survive this. Let's worry about the dragons. She's very logical about it. Like, okay, well, this is what we do first.
The most pressing task at hand.
Yes.
So we also kind of right along, after we have that, Harry sees this opportunity to talk to Cedric, and he does kind of the honorable thing, right? He tells Cedric about the dragons, and he says, it's just fair. Now we're all on an even, playing field. Thoughts on his choice to do that?
It's very Harry. It's a very Harry thing.
Okay.
It's a very Harry thing to think it has to be that way. It has to be fair.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think Harry's right.
Okay.
And we also see Moody kind of overhear, or at least witness parts of that interaction and kind of calls him over and kind of takes him into his office, which is the first time we've seen it since it was a Lupin's office. So that's kind of neat again. And Moody just talks to Harry about, like, that was kind of an honorable thing, very noble thing that you did there. Like, what's up with that?
I really like that Harry's like, I know I shouldn't have. And he's like, dude, cheating's cool. It's like a long-standing tradition. We cheat. They cheat. Everybody cheats. Only Dumbledore doesn't cheat, and he should be cheating. So no worries.
Like, I'm not going to sell you out, but I'm also not like surprised. So,
and I'm also kind of for it, but I'm not really going to tell you that I'm for it, other than like, this is something to think about.
Here's some general advice. Play to your strengths. Figure out a simple way to get what you need. We're gonna play to your strengths, and they're gonna figure out a simple way to get what you need. We're gonna play to your strengths and find out a simple way. Get what you need. Just get what you need. What do you need? How do you get it? He's like,
do you see him being like the ShampWow guy, right? Like in commercials with Mad Eye Moody, like, we're gonna play your strengths. What's your strengths? No, I said, what are your strengths?
I don't have any. I don't have any.
What are your strengths?
You have some if I say you have some. You have strengths if I say you have strengths. I love that line.
Are you gonna get what you need? Are you gonna get what you need?
I think I'm gonna get what I need because I'm afraid of you and I don't want you to hurt me.
And part of that moment, it's like, okay, so it's infomercial Mad Eye. It's also like angry football coach Mad Eye. But at the same time, it's also like beating him over the head with a stick Mad Eye. Like, dude, I cannot say the words you need. I cannot tell you this, but I can say it slowly and deliberately, enunciating each individual part so you catch on. Right?
I like the ch syllable you threw in there. Good emphasis on that syllable. So yeah, Moody helps out by not doing too much, and
no general life advice.
Yes, which is it is good advice. Figure out what your strengths are. You can't
always get what you want, but you might get what you need.
Yep. Then we have, I just want to reference the divination class that we have, and Trelawney basically says people born in July were in great danger of sudden, violent deaths. And Harry's response is just, well, that's good. I don't want to suffer. So, I love it.
Whatever. Fine. Kill me quick.
At this point, I don't care. Just get it done with.
Yeah. You're right. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. They all know I'm going to die. Probably going to die tomorrow. Whatever. Just be fast.
So then we get to tomorrow, and he's kind of going through this whole day of lessons and breakfast, and I like the little parenthesis section that we have, and it's just Harry's talking about how quickly time's moving. He's like, in his own head, where had all the morning gone? The last of the dragon-free hours? Like, I love the way it's worded, like, where'd the morning go? The last of the dragon-free hours. I think it's kind of neat and silly and fun, but I know that feeling so well.
Yes, of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Wait, now, but I was enjoying the not doing of this.
Terrible things have a nasty habit of coming at you very quickly.
Yes, they do. And I like that this chapter really, in general, there's been a good focus on the time.
It's all about time.
And how quickly it can move when least and wanted. And then we kind of go to the actual event, the task, if you will. But Harry gets walked down by McGonagall, and boy, does she seem like a basket of nervous.
Right, and even Harry, again, maybe not always the most perceptive, but notices, and he's like, that's, like, why is she so worried? She's not as worried as Hermione, but it's still a little unsettling that even she's nervous, because, like, she's kind of a bastion of confidence, right? I mean, for the most part, and
or at the very least, not caring, like, that whole...
nonchalant about, easy to at least play that card. And
Yes.
It's showing here. That's maybe concerning to Harry as he's walking up, and he feels even worse.
Thanks a lot, McGonagall, because now that
Appreciate it.
you're here, it's that much more terrible.
Oh, you're just confirming that I should be worried.
Right, because I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
As long as it's quick.
And then we'll all be dead.
And that'll take care of it all.
Then it's solved. Don't have to worry about it anymore.
However, that did not follow Hermione's prioritized list of the first step is don't die on Tuesday.
Right. So I have
Can I talk about the Tuesday really quick? I'm sorry to jump in, but here's my segue. It's a Tuesday. The task is on a Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically says it's a Tuesday. In fact, they even, what do they do? Oh, right. Cancel classes for the afternoon because it's a Tuesday.
Instead of scheduling this for the weekend.
Do you know what is never on Tuesdays?
Teacher
Quidditch
workshops.
matches.
Oh, really?
Quidditch matches. When are Quidditch matches held? So that takes me back.
Yeah, they're all Saturday mornings.
Why did we cancel the Quidditch season? Because this was going to take up so much time. Except we're canceling classes on Tuesdays. Not even during Quidditch practice in the evenings, but canceling I feel like this was an oversight.
This is not good planning. Priorities need sorting.
Yes.
This could also seems like something could have been pretty well lit at night, like pretty easily. Doesn't really require daylight necessarily.
No.
Like,
didn't need to cancel classes for that. Didn't know that this took precedence over, 1,000 students learning. But it's cool. It's like an assembly, I suppose. I hate assemblies.
Pep rally every day.
See? No. Don't like them. You're interrupting my teaching time.
So we get into the tent, finally, and Bagman kind of gives all of the champions the lowdown of, hey, you're going to have to go get the golden egg, and they all pick their dragons, and nobody is surprised by this. So, yes, confirmed, the other headmasters told their
everybody
respective
knows.
students. So,
but
good
they
on
don't know that we know that you know that we know, and I don't even know what that is, but we all know.
So after they all get their respective dragons selected, Bagman also seems pretty concerned about Harry, and I think that's kind of good on him because, in his mind, Harry's way overmatched here. Like, there's no way Harry's gonna have a reasonable chance of being able to just find out about, oh, you're facing a dragon, and what do you do? Like, I'm kind of with Ludo on this one. Like, I don't think it's harming anything, just like offering, like, hey, I'm like the last person you're gonna talk to. You okay? Like,
Can I get you like an Advil or something? Like,
a Fresca? Can I get you a Fresca?
Can I offer you a good strong pat on the back? Attaboy, good try, because you're gonna be dead.
You're dying today. You are going to die today. I'm sorry to be the one that tells you.
but I'm really proud of you for showing up at all.
Good on you.
Oh my goodness.
So
poor Harry.
The other champions all go in, finish the task. We hear it, which I think is a really cool scene where Harry's sitting there listening to the kind of the commentary from Bagman and the crowd reaction, and there's some silly things, like, oh, nice move, pity it didn't work. Like, I think that's kind of a silly line, and it's just an interesting way to add, like, even more, as if Harry needed it, like, more depth of tension here. It really captures that I'm next on stage feeling, and I am not prepared for this.
Yeah, no.
Right? I mean, and there's nothing he can do about it. He's magically bound. He's contractually obligated, whatever that means. And so he has to go through with it. And so he steps out, brave as can be, courage showing. He's scared and nervous, but he does it. And I think that's good on him. And take it away.
And then, like, he, summons his firebolt, and it's that moment.
Yeah.
That moment of, like, sitting and waiting and being no idea. That's the thing where this is the moment where he doesn't know if it's going to work.
The article of faith that he shows here.
Yes. So let me see if I can find that. Here it is. Harry waited, every fiber of him hoping, praying, if it hadn't worked, if it wasn't coming. He seemed to be looking at everything around him through some sort of shimmering, transparent barrier, like a heat haze, which made the enclosure and the hundreds of faces around him swim strangely. ...
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. This paragraph is at the end of a page. Like, it's physically on the bottom of a page, and you have to turn the page to see.
In chapter cliffhanger?
Yes. And I feel like this moment would not have been that big of a moment for me if it had just been like a paragraph in the middle of a page and the next paragraph right after it starts with, and then he heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas having it at the bottom, I remember reading this the first time through going, oh, please let it come. Like, I was so anxious.
You have that, mid-thought breath that you have to take to turn the page, and I like when... And
my eyes can't scan quickly ahead, like, okay, is he still, like, is he fine? Is he some... Nope, I can't do it.
Right. And I would assume that's slightly intentional by the publisher, like just, and JK as well.
It's like, what if you were to add one more paragraph?
Right.
You could put this here.
Right. And I like that intentionality. I'm going to assume that was intentional. And I really like when the physical book helps add to the story, you know? And I think, again, another story series that you and I are mega huge fans of is the Lemony Snicket series. And there are certain things just going through the printing of the way the book is done that I know I read that when I was, at 16? I mean, maybe it was after that. No, it would have been after that. I think it was actually...
You would have been around 20.
I was going to say, I think it was in college, actually. But still, it changed the way I kind of look at physical books because some of the rules were broken on purpose to tell part of the narrative. And I was blown away. I respected the way things were put together so much out of that. And so, like, your instance that you point out there, like, I wonder if you would have noticed that without having Lemony Snicket as well, but potentially. I mean, it's just like a natural reaction too. I read
this way before I read Lemony Snicket.
And you do remember having that physical reaction?
Yes.
Okay, good.
This book came out in 2000,
right?
Yep. I don't even remember.
It's 2000.
Right. And this is the first book I bought when it came out.
Right.
I was 21. I didn't read the Lemony Snicket series until I was married and was in school to become a teacher. So that was minimum 2003.
Sure.
So just as like a...
Yeah, it was more just like that. That's where I don't remember thinking that in the middle of this chapter specifically, but that's cool that you did. So we have Harry. Okay, spoiler for this conversation. The broom arrives. The firebolt gets there. Right.
Oh, I'm so good.
And it's written so well, and and then the whole conversation. And I'm actually just going to read this, and it says, as he soared upward, as the wind rushed through his hair, as the crowd's faces became mere flesh-colored pinpricks below, and the horned tail shrank to the size of a dog, he realized that he had left not only the ground behind, but also his fear. He was back where he belonged. This was just another Quidditch match. That was all. Just another Quidditch match, and that horntail was just another ugly opposing team. This is exactly what Moody was talking about, right? I mean, it's literally put yourself in a position to use your strengths. And they figure it out, and he figures out how to get what he needs to do it. And I love how he kind of dances with the dragon a little bit and uses his flying skills to entice the dragon. It's like, just get off the ground, like, just come after me a little bit. And he gets a little bit singed, right? That's fine, whatever. He'll
be fine. Adrenaline's got him going, so he'll be all right.
Yeah, we have superhero Harry going, and he's in his element. This is his element, and it ends up working out, right? And I love how quickly Harry dives for the egg right when the horntail tries to start taking off. It's like, the dragon makes that commitment, and Harry is has just been waiting for it and goes for it. And then that's just kind of the end of it. And he soars over the crowd, and everyone's blown away by how, because that's going to be a really cool thing to see. It's visually appealing to watch.
Especially after watching the others just do some spell work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely going to be much more exciting and action. Yes. And they all appreciate that. And I think they all think differently of him from this point. And even Ludo Bagman, over the voice magnifier, he's like, well, that's going to shorten the odds on Harry Potter pretty quickly, and I think he's right.
I agree.
So, do you have any other thoughts this chapter? I'm gonna run.
I did questions. So.
Okay, I'm gonna run through a couple other thoughts that I had here. I just thought it was silly that Pomfrey was. You kind of had a shakes my head moment at the dragons, be like, dragons. Last year was Dementors. What's it gonna be next year? She just has to deal with all of the fallout of these things, and it just seems like a very natural response that her character would have.
Honesty, I almost put her question as one of our 5 burning questions. Last year Dementors, this year dragons. What are they going to bring into the school next?
Right.
So, what's going to be year 5? It's going to be, I don't know.
Well, year 1, it was dragons and trolls, right?
True. Yes.
Year 2 was a giant snake that had been there for hundreds of years.
And talking man-eating spiders.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, it's, I don't know, maybe
Agree
we'll be
with
back to, so if that pattern continues, book 4 will also have giant snakes and giant spiders again.
Or trolls. Maybe they'll just hit trolls. Maybe trolls are coming back in this book.
Yeah, let's not rule that out.
Okay. All right. I won't. Great.
And so as Ron is recovering, or as Harry is recovering, Ron shows up and he comes around, right? It's kind of like this is what it took for him to realize this is not something Harry would have signed up for. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on Ron and the way he approaches this interaction, the way Hermione reacts to this interaction?
I like that Ron's trying to apologize, and Harry at first gives him an attitude, and then he's like, whatever, I don't care. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And Ron's like, well, but Harry's like, no, really, it's fine. And then Hermione finally pulls the girl card, right? And bursts into tears, and she's like, you two are so stupid. Just flings herself at both of them, and they're like, what? What is she
What's
overreacting?
wrong with her?
I know, and you're like, oh my God, you guys just spent how many weeks literally not speaking to each other and being so mean to each other that I can finally let go of all of this that I've been holding in, and you don't understand what I'm doing? Boys.
You two are so stupid. And then she stomps off after giving them both a hug. And then, runs away, and Ron's just barking mad. It's just well, is she okay? What's the problem here?
No, she's emotionally healthy as opposed to you two, but it's fine. It's fine. You don't understand.
Not emotionally healthy. That's fine.
Yeah. Hermione is. That's it. That to me, her responses totally makes sense.
I disagree. I think their response also makes a lot of sense. Boy versus girl, maybe.
Boy, you're a silly boy with no emotions. All right, let's continue.
And so my last thought here is Ron's indignation was worth about 100 points, and he didn't tell Ron this, of course. It's another one of those kind of boy emotion things a bit. But Harry flat out says to himself, this is worth everything. Having Ron back is worth all of the points that he could potentially get for this tournament, and Ron doesn't need to know that, but it's true.
Can I random question about points? What are they for? They haven't really told us.
I think
you get points.
Just a score comparison relative to the other champions doing a similar task.
So is it whoever has the most points after the 3 tasks wins? Is it's not clear what the points do for anyone. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's just weird. I think we just get a relative ranking between. Who's doing better. Yeah, and we don't know what the next tasks are or anything, but I would imagine potentially it, hey, you get a head start or you get some leg up if you have more points.
whoever has the most points at the end of 3 wins.
Yeah, that could be.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question, though. All right, Melissa, it's time for, I think, what is my favorite part of each episode. It's the 5 burning questions. What do you got?
I like it. All right, here we go. Would you have told Cedric about the dragons?
Absolutely. It's the right thing to do. I mean, especially because he had evidence that the other 2 would know. And Harry is not self-serving. He believes in the justice of it, and he feels it's his duty to make things fair because, like, he doesn't have any ill will towards Cedric. He's not rooting against Cedric. He's more wanting to do well for himself. But he's
okay. What about you?
What about me?
Yes, if you were in the tournament.
Yeah, I'd tell Cedric if I was in the same spot that Harry was, that I knew that there were dragons and the other 2 knew. Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
And you wouldn't.
Well, I didn't say that. Given the exact scenario that Harry is in, I probably would. But what if, like, I was Fleur? Do you know what I mean? Like, in her shoes. As in, I don't know if anybody else knows, and I'm the only girl in this, and I'm here to win. I might not.
The big caveat there is you don't know if everyone else knows. Harry knows.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, given you yourself in this competition, not necessarily in any one situation or another, you find out, do you tell Cedric?
I don't, it just depends. Yeah, I mean, if it's more of if he is the one that's getting a short straw pulled because he's the only one that doesn't know
that.
Right. And so that's where it's, if I somehow came across the information and I figured only I knew it, yeah, maybe I don't bring it up, but I also don't know what the context of using the dragons is going to be. You know, like I don't know. But in this context, absolutely. I mean, it's...
Like I said, I'm just saying in general, if you were in a competition and you knew information and your competitor did not, competitor from your same school versus the other one's out. I don't know. It just depends. I think definitely if you know that he's at a disadvantage compared to all of you, but...
Yeah, it's tough to say. I really am a person who believes to root for your own team and not against the other team at all. I don't hope people do bad.
Kansas City.
What?
Unless that team comes from Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
For you. It's all right.
For that, I'm still rooting for the other team. I mean, I'm not looking for them to, I don't know, let's not go there. But in general, I don't root. Like, if I'm in a baseball game and the team makes an error, I'm not cheering that they messed up. I'm excited of the positive thing it means for our team, but I'm not, like, jibing them for making a mistake, because that's bad sportsmanship.
Awesome. Okay, question number 2. Who do you think hissed, "We'll have a box of tissues ready, Potter," to Harry on the morning of the task?
Millicent Bulstrode.
Okay.
And he's Slytherin.
Right. Like, was it a Slytherin? It sounds like a Slytherin thing. And
not Draco, because we would know that it was Draco.
You think that would have been explicitly stated?
Absolutely. There's no way it wouldn't say, oh, and the whispers, and his, you know, like, we would know. It would have been a bigger deal if Draco said it.
What if it was Crab?
No, we would have known.
You think if it was Crab or Goyle, we would know
also? Yeah.
All right, then I'm going to go with Pansy Parkinson.
Also completely valid.
Right, because whatever.
Yeah.
Pick a random Slytherin. Pick your favorite.
Especially one in a similar age range. Like, yes. I don't really see a 7th year saying...
Or first year.
Yeah. Someone in the 3 to 5 class range. We're narrowing down.
All right, question 3. Was it wise to leave Bagman alone and in charge of telling the champions what the task was in the champions' tent just prior to the task? As in, when he was telling them about it, he almost forgot to tell them that their job was to collect the golden egg. And it says, and I have to tell you something else too. Yes, your task is to collect the golden egg. Like, there were pauses and hums and, well, it just felt very like, what was that again that I was supposed to tell them? Really? This is the person we're leaving in charge of giving all the directions?
Well, now we're all here. Time to fill you in, said Bagman brightly. When the audience has assembled, I'm going to be offering each of you this bag. He held up a small sack of purple silk and shook it at them, from which you will each select a small model of the thing you are about to face. There are different varieties, you see. And I have to tell you something else, too. Ah, yes. Your task is to collect the golden egg. I don't know, like, I guess I've never read it as he forgot what it was, or I just don't read it that way, I guess. It's, there's some hesitations, but I almost think he's doing it for, like, dramatic effect, because this is something he is so super excited about, and he's a showman. I mean, we've seen that. So I don't read it as, like, a forgetting thing. I think it more as, like, a dramatic pause. And I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, that's fine. I just read it as, like, he might be forgetting this, and he's the only adult in there. Wouldn't it, like, in general, when it comes to fair competitions, to have two so that there's always, like, a witness? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been him and Crouch together in that room.
That would have been more fair.
That's all I'm saying. It feels very, you sure you just want to leave it to that one guy?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, though. I think he did a fair job.
All right. Question 4. Which dragon would you choose to face?
Common Welsh Green. It sounds like the mildest.
Okay.
Especially if I'm, again, in Harry's shoes and I know that I don't know what I'm really going to do. That seems like potentially the least dangerous one to go with. It's common.
I would definitely not go with the Hungarian horntail, because I feel like that tail, as Charlie told us, the tail is as deadly as its front end. So,
weapons at both ends. It's like a blessed and screwed.
Only bigger. I also don't think I'd want the Chinese fireball, because it sounds like it spits fireballs, not just like a thing of fire. I'm thinking that sounds dangerous. I played a lot of Super Mario Brothers in my life,
right.
And fireballs are deadly. So
right, those were the two that I was easily ruling out most.
Yes. So then it comes down to, do you pick the common Welsh green or the Swedish short snout? I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, not a bad option either, I think.
And it's first. That would be the other thing, is that
get in, get done with.
Yep, get it in, get it over with. I don't
cut the anxiety off at the pass.
Let me just finish and be done with it.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that.
All right. Question number 5. Should the heads of each house be included in the judges' panel for fear of not having a full panel of impartial judges?
No. No, I don't think they should be included at all.
Especially after Karkaroff gave Harry a 4. I feel like that was very not fairly...
Oh, you mean the headmasters?
The heads of each house. Sorry, I meant the heads of each school.
Okay.
The heads of each school.
I was like, no, they absolutely shouldn't be. Like, that would be way too many Hogwarts judges. Like, that's not fair at all.
Let's start over, shall we? Should the heads of each school be included in the judges panel for fear of not having impartial judges?
I think they should be. I think it's reasonable that they have 5, one from each house, or from each school, and then 2 quote-unquote impartial judges. I think that's fair. I don't think it's necessarily fair that the 2 impartial judges likely went to Hogwarts and are British and like that.
Some more from other countries to fair it up.
Yeah, and maybe there should have been, not to add a bunch of unnecessary characters, but like 7 judges total, and have maybe 1 of the impartial ministry judges be from England, and then basically 3 other, from elsewhere, just from wherever. I think that'd have been more fair.
I agree. And then you could throw out the top and the bottom scores.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not unreasonable at all.
It feels very, 2002 figure skating Olympic.
The Russian judges.
And French.
Oh, the French. And both. Yep.
In collusion with the Russians, so the Russians could win, even though it should have been the Canadians.
Yes, that's correct.
But whatever.
All right, let's get towards wrapping this chapter up and talk about what our favorite things were. Chapter superlatives. Melissa, what was your favorite line?
Oh, there were so many good ones.
There were several.
So I went with this one. Well, now we know what to do the next time I can't manage a spell, Harry said, throwing a rune dictionary back to Hermione so he could try again. Threaten me with a dragon.
Effective. Seems effective.
When in doubt, put him in a life-threatening situation.
Definitely.
It's the Harry way.
Did you have any runner-up lines?
Just Madame Pomfrey's line of last year Dementors, this year dragons, what are they going to bring to this school next?
Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that one. How about you?
So I had 4 lines that really stuck out to me. And my most favoritist line was, "It's just fair, isn't it?" he said to Cedric. "We all know now. We're on an even footing, aren't we?" And like we've talked about, I'm with him. I just think that shows really strong integrity from Harry, and the fairness is something I very much respect out of Harry here.
I agree. Honestly, you had pictures first, and so I was reading it going, yeah, I'm glad he's going to mention that. Then I don't have to worry about that one because I really like that line a lot. Mm-hmm. Did you have any runners up?
I did. I had and a couple of them I've already referenced, but the clever move, pity it didn't work, is kind of a funny one over the, magical PA system. And then the whole sequence of as he soared up into the air and he kind of finds himself where he belongs, I like that whole line there. And then we actually didn't even touch on this, but at the very end of the chapter, after everything's scored and they're walking out, Rita Skeeter, says, "Hey, Harry, nice work. Can I have a word?" And he says, "Yeah, you can have a word," said Harry savagely. "Goodbye." Just good on you.
Yep.
That is what he needed to do there, and potentially more, but probably not more because that would be written against him in not healthy ways.
Yep.
So also, who was your chapter MVP?
As much as I don't like to do this very often, I think this chapter 100% warranted giving this award to Harry. Because, yes, okay, he gets the whole book, whatever. But, man, was he amazing. First of all, he stepped it up morally by telling Cedric. He didn't have to. He overcame some learning barriers and powered through learning those summoning charms because he had a purpose. And then he just killed it with the dragon. Just outstanding. And then even at the end with the burn on Rita and telling Ron, I forgive you, man. You don't even need to say anything. I'm just good. Just letting it go and not holding a grudge. Harry was on his game the whole chapter and head and tails above everybody else. He totally deserves it.
Yeah, no disagreements at all. I'm actually going to double down and give the honorable mention to Harry as well. For all those same reasons, I really can't have said it much better myself. The thing that I think stands out most to me, the two things are, the Cedric letting him know, that just takes personal integrity and fortitude to kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, man up and do the right thing a bit in for Harry's character. And also, as you also put it very well, just not even needing Ron's apology. Just knowing Ron's intentions was good enough. And he didn't punish Ron on top of the guilt that Ron already probably feels. And it was just a good friend moment. And so it's Harry. It's all Harry.
It's always been Harry.
It's always been Harry.
Just this time. Not really always. And that wraps us up for this chapter. Before we go, though, I want to warn you guys about something. Typically at this time, we have finished a book.
Yeah, this is essentially the number of chapters to complete a Harry Potter book for the first 3.
And as we have done when we finish a book, we usually take a brief hiatus to recap, to recollect and sleep and catch up and just
sleep.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Only this book's halfway done. So we decided that we're going to take a 2-week hiatus where we recollect. We will be back. We'll take 2 Sundays off. The 3rd Sunday from now, we will be back with our 5-chapter recap episode. So make sure you like and subscribe and find us everywhere so that you get notified as soon as that comes back. You make sure you follow us on Twitter because we will definitely have that up there. We're on Twitter at Not Named Podcast. You can find this show and all of our shows along with lots of really cool ways to support us at our website, which is thepodcastthat.com. Here's my favorite thing about the website right now. We have a blog. So go on, hit the blog tab under content, and you're going to see we have a blog written for each of our shows by the amazing Gretchen Sketchy. You can follow her on Twitter, but check those out. She does an amazing job of taking the random things we say and making us sound like we've talked about way cooler stuff than we really did. So check those out for us. Any questions you have, any comments, if you miss us and just want to reach out while we're on our quick break, you can email us at notnamedpodcast@gmail.com.
Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes. And as I mentioned last week, subscribe to us on YouTube because another exciting thing that we are going to start doing from this 5-chapter recap from chapter 21 and on is live stream record, something that we do on a couple of our other shows and have had a lot of fun doing that. So we are going to cordially invite you to come and join us and see what this unedited fun looks like, as we're working through some of the kinks and as the dog barks and as kids run in, you'll get to see that all live, and it happens like every time. So
every time
we expect that to be pretty fun. We'll probably add a short check-ins along the episodes to hang out with in the chat a little bit as well, so you can interact with us as we're recording. So please do that. Go to youtube.com, search for us there. The link is available on the Contact Us page. If you go to all the places you can find us, click those buttons, and it'll bring you right there. Click that notification bell on YouTube, and you will be notified as soon as we go live every single time. You can also listen to this Not Named podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find and support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everyone benefits.
Join us in 3 weeks for our 5-chapter recap and in 4 weeks for chapter number 21.
The House Elf Liberation Front. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.